If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that is shining a light on the spooky in this new year of 2025. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer. I'm a professional medium and a teller of ghost stories, both of which I will share with you in this episode. First tonight, I have for you spooky tales of haunted lighthouses. Honestly, I can't believe I've been creating this podcast for over 2 years now, and I have never covered the topic of haunted lighthouses. For those really intrigued by the topic, I do want to mention that my partner Maxwell and we used to create a podcast called Odd Tonic, where we covered weird history, strange science, and the paranormal. And in one of those episodes, we did a deep dive into the Aylin Moore Lighthouse mystery. And Odd Tonic is still available on all the podcast apps, so feel free to haunt your ears with some of those episodes. After my lighthouse ghost stories tonight, light a candle and linger near my seance table with me for a message from the spirits. I'll open up the space for a spirit to come close for someone listening to the podcast. Are you in need of a message from a loved one who has passed on? Listen to tonight's seance session and see if this message is specifically for you. And do you enjoy spending time with me each week? Dear listener, please consider sharing this episode with a friend you think would enjoy it. Honestly, word of mouth is by far the most impactful way to help this podcast continue to grow and for me to continue to offer volumes of content. So thank you for supporting my spooky and spiritual work by sharing it. Now, grab a life jacket. Let's visit a few haunted lighthouses and see what spirits have been drawn to them right now. I live in a small town on Lake Superior. I've known of several supposedly haunted lighthouses around the area, but I was unaware of any activity in the lighthouse in the city where I live. So, I was pleasantly surprised when I heard they were offering paranormal tours of the lighthouse. I really didn't expect much to happen, but I decided it might be fun for my wife and I to go. The first time we went was a pretty wild ride. That story is for another time, but our crew got several intelligent responses via EVP recordings. But the second time was also pretty neat. Long story short, it is believed that the spirit of a child resides at the lighthouse. There was a group of 6 of us, and we were all in the basement. One of the investigators leading the tour was trying to contact the child spirit. A fellow tour goer had eagerly volunteered to lug around the SLS camera for an hour and a half. I had tried to carry around the box where spirits could pick out words, but right when I grabbed it, it said, "wrong." And that was enough for me to be convinced to leave it alone. The tour was coming to a close without the camera operator noticing anything on the camera at all. I was standing across the room from him when I noticed that the hair on my arms was standing on end and my skin was tingling. I went to say something to my wife, but before I could, she grabbed me and told me her opposite hand had gone ice cold. Seconds later, the guy across the room with the SLS camera called me to come over. I walked over to find the camera software displayed a small stick figure that appeared to be holding my wife's hand. The hand that she had said was freezing. It wasn't like a flash and then it was gone. It stayed for several minutes. My wife would move away and then it would show up near her again. And I wasn't surprised by this, as my wife has a really caring and compassionate energy about her, and her career involves caring for troubled youth. It made complete sense for this ghost child in the lighthouse to be drawn to her. The following account took place in the late summer of 1982 on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. In 1982, Hilton Head, which is now a huge resort island, still retains several undisturbed tracts of wilderness. This undeveloped area, then and now, has a cast iron skeleton-supported lighthouse. It is sometimes referred to as the Learnington Lighthouse, the name of the one-time plantation the light was constructed on. Hilton Head is noted for its famous red and white striped lighthouse in the harbor town a few miles away. That lighthouse was constructed for decorative purposes in 1969. The Learnington Lighthouse was constructed in 1880. And originally its beacon was matched up with the Front Range light on the beach. When the two lights were lined up, one over the other, the ship's captain knew it was time to begin their turn into the Savannah Shipping Canal. The light was deactivated in 1932. When I lived on the island, the area was a quiet forest with one of the largest of the remaining undeveloped chunks of land left. There were, of course, no trespassing signs posted everywhere, but for a young teenager, these meant very little. The lighthouse and the surrounding woods became one of the major hangouts for me and my circle of friends. Endless hours were spent hanging out in the old lamp room, climbing around the outside of the lighthouse on its skeleton frame, not smart, I know, and running around the forest. Having a special place like this to go to provided for a fresh adventure each time. Okay, but local folklore surrounding the lighthouse claimed that a lighthouse keeper named Adam Fripp suffered a heart attack during a hurricane while climbing the spiral staircase to the light to keep the lamps lit. Legend states that his daughter Caroline found Adam dead at the base of the staircase and was forced to tend to the light herself. She reportedly dragged her father back to their lodgings and pulled him up step by step as the storm surged and pushed the water higher and higher. Exhausted and half crazy, she was supposedly found a few days later, only to die soon after. From that point on, her ghostly figure has supposedly been seen on moonless nights walking up the spiral staircase, weeping. Well, that's the legend, and every lighthouse needs one. She is referred to as either the Blue Lady or the Lady in Blue. The blue aspect stems from her always wearing a blue flowered dress. After talking about it for some time, my friend Billy and I decided we were going to have a real adventure and spend a night at the lighthouse and see if we could see the Blue Lady ourselves. On a rainy Saturday, just before dusk, we made our way to the old hidden and dilapidated road which led to the lighthouse. This old road was our entrance into a time machine of the mind. It wound its way to the foundations of the keepers' houses, then a huge foundation where I believe a hospital once stood. Finally rounding a curve in the road, the pine and the oak trees would part, and the hulking rear-range lights sprang into full view. Constructed of iron, the slender tube that contains the staircase is supported by a steel skeletal framework. Rust bled heavily down its sides, giving way only sporadically to the few flecks of remaining white paint. Billy and I set up our small two-person tent off the small path, under low-hanging branches covered in Spanish moss, about 20 yards from the lighthouse. We had supplies for the night: food, water, flashlights, a kerosene lamp, and a radio. After we set up, we ventured on to the lighthouse to see the night come. Neither Billy or I had been to the lighthouse after dark before, and to see it that way was strange. The massive live oak tree directly in front of the light, and the brooding presence of the rusty structure in the growing evening shadows was quite eerie. It was also exhilarating. After climbing to the top, we returned to our tent as the rain was becoming somewhat heavy. Not only was it raining, but it was a moonless night. Billy and I had chosen it because of the Blue Lady legend, and the whole area was black as pitch. Anyone who has ever lived in a rural area knows how incredibly dark it can be when there are no lights at all nearby. The thick humidity somehow made it feel even darker. In daylight, my buddies and I would regularly joke about the lady in blue, but Billy and I now afforded her legend a bit of respect. To get our minds off of being a bit afraid, we blasted the radio, ate, and told jokes. This worked brilliantly for a couple of hours. Billy was laying back on his sleeping bag, flipping through a magazine, and the rain had lightened up a bit. I thought I would take a peek outside. Unzipping the front of the tent, I peered out. What I saw completely caught me off guard. It was the light that really took me by surprise, and particularly where it was coming from. There was a milky, low-lying fog which weaved its way around the trees, but didn't actually touch them. The fog came within 6 inches or so of the bark and then curled around them. Looking directly down, I saw the fog was behaving the same way with our tent. Above this, there was nothing. The light illuminating the woods seemed to be coming from the strange fog itself. It was unlike any fog or mist I have encountered before or since. The stuff looked like a thick liquid and moved and undulated very, very oddly. Billy was by my side now, looking at the weird, living mist as well. We both mentioned how we couldn't see through it. It completely hid the earth underneath. Its light was a bluish white, and it was surprisingly bright. For the remainder of the night, Billy and I were uneasy, and we didn't look out the tent again. We had difficulty occupying our time, much less sleeping. We also noticed an odd, regular pattern of rain that fell on our tent. Drip, pause. Drip, 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 pause. Drip, drip, drip. I still remember the pattern as it seemed to be continuing endlessly. And being in a thick forest in a supposedly haunted area on a rainy night with a weird fog surrounding us did nothing to dispel the thought that someone or something was pouring water on the tent in a purposeful manner. It was a bit maddening. Around 5 a.m., I was finally on the brink of an uneasy sleep when the most bizarre and horrifying scream I ever heard cut ferociously through the woods. It sounded like a mixture of an infant, a wild animal, and a possessed man. It lasted for about 5 seconds or so, and when it stopped, there was absolutely no sound. The rain had stopped. There was no early morning songbird. Absolutely nothing. I know that sounds dramatic, but it is exactly as it happened. Billy and I exchanged glances, stuffed our backpacks, disassembled our tent, and as quickly as possible made our way back to the abandoned road. The mist, by the way, had completely vanished. I lived on the island for 6 years and never heard anything even close to this scream. It still echoes in my mind 34 years later. Maybe it was the ghost of the one-time lightkeeper. Whatever it was, the lady in blue, the old lightkeeper, or something else entirely, it wasn't a living person. It was simply too weirdly loud, as if it was somehow amplified. Billy and I both agreed it was the most blood-curdling and creepy sound we had ever heard. I grew up on the West Coast and would often go to the shorelines and beaches off of Highway 1. Around the age of 15, one of my favorite places to explore was the Pigeon Point Lighthouse. It's a quaint little lighthouse. It's one of the reasons why I became obsessed with lighthouses. The very first time I saw it, I had an experience I can't explain. There are many cliffs next to Highway 1, giving you a view of the ocean just beyond the rocks. The first time driving to that area of the coast, as I stared out the car window, I saw a woman on the cliffs. She had long black hair that was dancing in the wind. She wore a white dress, and her skin was a pale ivory. There seemed to be a bit of a bluish tint around her. We drove past her in the car, and I craned my neck back to see her again, but she was gone. I asked my mom if she saw her, and my mom was puzzled. I decided to leave it at that and not press the matter any further. As I kept going back to that part of the highway, I would keep seeing her. She would always be standing there on the cliff, staring out into the ocean. Sometimes I would get a flash of her, an image of her eerie blue eyes staring blankly ahead at the sea. These were all brief flashes, and always when I was near her. It was as if I was no longer in my mom's car on that highway, just somewhere seemingly lonely. I haven't been near the lighthouse for almost 1.5 years now, but I'm positive that if I go back, I'd see her again. I still wonder who this ghost is and why I only see her standing in the same position or staring with that same expression. Is she a ghost who's stuck in some sort of time loop, or is she trying to get my attention? Are you enjoying the podcast? Please leave a kind review or share it with a friend. These small actions take only a few moments, but they immensely help support the podcast. Thank you for supporting my work and the podcast. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening, so thank you for joining me here in the candlelight. As I work, I have with me this big old chunk of amethyst. It's very pale, but hopefully if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the purple color in it. And amethyst is one of my favorite crystals to work with. It's my birthstone, but besides that, it's just wonderfully calming. It's tranquil. It's also very psychic and spiritual, and it just feels so good to be around. It really resonates with me. If you haven't worked with amethyst before, give it a try and see how it speaks to you. Okay, I'm gonna clear my mind, call a spirit close. Oh, there's someone coming in with a lot of jovial energy. This feels like this is their time to shine. Christmas and decorations and silly hats and jingle bells and spiked eggnog, interesting drinks. He's like, don't forget the rum balls. This guy feels like he is just shining with so much love and companionship. It feels like being near people and making them laugh just really made his soul glow. He feels like an older relative to you, possibly grandfather. Do you have some of his Christmas decorations? I'm seeing like a vintage reindeer, small figurine, and I'm hearing bubble lights. I don't know what episode this will air on, but if this is around the time where you're bringing out the decor for the holidays, or maybe it's currently in your home, just know that he loves that you utilize it and that you can enjoy it like he did. He also really had this cool old car. I don't think you own this vehicle now, but it was just something that you never knew him to drive anything else. Big bench seat, kind of bluish, grayish, black in color. Yeah, that was his car. He loved that ride. Okay. His message for you tonight: don't burn the casserole. No, he has a good sense of humor. He is saying he wants to encourage you to slow down. You're very fast-paced and you're constantly moving. And he's like, hey, slow down. Enjoy the time you have right now. Don't always be go, go, go. You're missing the present moment. Be a part of it. Slow down and connect with it. He's like, listen to the birds. Pay attention to the nature around you, the people around you. And he wants to encourage you to appreciate the humor in life and the laughs that we share together. And life is about those moments. It doesn't need to be fast-paced all the time. I hope this message finds you well. If it does connect for you, of course, please reach out because I always want to hear. Thank you. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed my spirit work that I shared with you this evening, as well as those spooky tales of haunted lighthouses. Have you ever visited a haunted lighthouse and had a ghostly experience? I would love to hear about it, so please reach out. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to, in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening, Happy New Year, and good night.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We're sisters, wine lovers, and your hosts for the podcast Spirits Uncorked.
In Season 2, we're leaving the haunted waters of Lake Lanier in Georgia and diving into all new spooky stuff. Shadow people?
I've seen them.
Haunted military bases?
I've served on one.
Local restaurants with ghostly reputations?
I work at one.
Okay, if something spooky doesn't happen to you, I worry about you.
The paranormal is my normal.
Plus, we'll sip and chat with horror authors, fascinating guests, and test out some superstitions along the way.
Knock on wood.
So uncork a bottle and pour a glass of the paranormal with us on Season 2 of Spirits Uncorked.
Get ready for sips, scares, and sisterly sarcasm.
Welcome to Brew Crime, a true crime and beer podcast. Join me, Mike,
and me, JT,
as we explore the world of crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is a podcast where we pick a theme, cover a few cases, and pair them with a brew.
Between themes, we do what we call Brew Crime News, a funny look at current news stories, be it crime, animals, sports, or even celebrities.
You can find us on all social media at Brew Crime. Our website is brewcrime.com. And you can find us on any podcast app at Brew Crime Podcast.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us and maybe, definitely, tip a bottle or two back as you do it. Drink with us weekly.